Morning. So, for those of you who know me, you'll know that I'm not dressed and it's 10:15. But that's thanks to the kids, thanks to the hubby. It should be a double thumbs up for me not being disturbed at all. Actually, I woke up about 8:15. So, having given the kids another 2 breakfasts because apparently they're that hungry, and after me making myself a cup of tea, which I'm still halfway through, but the milk's gone a bit funny, so I'm just going to get a spoon to stir my tea with again because it's settling, is that I wanted to connect in with regard to meditation. I did last night before I went to sleep. For many of us, it's a nice routine to get into because it relaxes you down, it allows you to connect in. If you don't have a good bedtime routine, it is a really, really wonderful bedtime routine. And the other thing that you may find is, though on a negative, that if you meditate before you go to sleep, you might fall asleep and miss some of the stuff, which invariably happens to me because, I tend to be tired. So what I did last night was I had a look at this wonderful book, which I'm going to turn around to show you, The Goddess Rising book by Lynn Thurman. So I went to her talk the other day, and switch that back. And this book is supposed to be a goddess a week, so I just allowed it to open where it's supposed to, and it opened on Kali, which was really interesting. I know her story anyway. It gave me some more very real information about Kali and about her story. And actually a really wonderful exercise to do with her. But some of the things that Kali comes to help with are safely letting out anger, speaking your mind, not holding your tongue, acknowledging your inner demons and your shadow self and setting those parts of you free, to listen to music on a regular basis which soothes your soul and mellows your mood, and making radical changes in your life. And all of those are quite relevant for me at the moment. So I thought, okay, now knowing the way that goddess energy works, I didn't necessarily want to connect into her directly unless she was happy to come forward to me. So what I instead did was use an affirmation which Lynn has put in the book, which was, I am a perfect balance of dark and light. So I just connected in, rooted in, grounded in, connected in via source, allowed my bubble between those 2 energy centres to form. And the way that I work with the breathing is I let my breath bring up the energy from my base all the way to my crown on the in-breath and down. And that's how I open my chakras when I do a breathing meditation, where I'm not necessarily being guided. I'm not doing a guided meditation where I'm just breathing through my root and up to my crown and out on the out breath, just feeling or seeing, knowing that the energy is moving up and down your body with your breath. And as I was doing that, I was repeating the affirmation, I am a perfect balance of dark and light. And it's funny because this is something that I've been very aware of for the last few months with regard to accepting the whole of myself. I do have a temper, which I struggle to, not to keep a lid on because that's not the right word, but to quell it and to keep it under wraps, and, I shouldn't let it out. And then, the only person that ends up having it is invariably my husband. So, bless him. So, it is okay for me to speak my mind. It is okay for me to say what I need to say. And I've gone through various stages of that in my life. And probably my early 20s was quite a big time when I started really speaking out for myself and understanding that I could find the words, and I did have the words to say what I needed to say, even if it wasn't positive, but in a measured and a calm way. And now Kali is obviously saying, okay, you need to take that one step forward. And it's not just saying it when you need to say it, when you really desperately need to say it, but actually it's about speaking all of your truths and, being completely honest about yourself as a person. And, if people have got on your nerves or have said the wrong thing or done the wrong thing to you, rather than just sometimes, which is what I tend to do, just going to do, it's all right, it's fine, just sweeping it under the carpet. then I need to say it. 1 second. So, okay, so when I was then looking at Kali, well, not looking at Kali, saying this affirmation, I didn't have Kali come to me. I actually had a male god who very much had, who very much had a kind of Polynesian Samoan energy to him. He was wonderful. He was carved in stone, which is beautiful. And he said he was so I'm just going to get a biscuit for the youngest. That is Crown Control biscuit. It is a Nans biscuit, so it must be healthy, it's fine. Carved in stone, who came to me. And he took me to a window. We were in this big white room, and he took me to a window. And he said, look out. And I looked out, and he said, look, you're not looking properly. And I said, I can't really see anything, it's just all swirly. And he said, no, look properly. So I did look properly. And he had, what actually he showed me was a nebula. So I knew what it was because I like stars. So I'm just going to show you a photo of nebula. Yeah, it was actually quite like these sort of pinky ones here, but more pink and white. Okay. He said to me, you're a nebula. Your energy is a nebula. Your current incarnation, your current energy, this is the energy that you come from originally. This is how big it is. And that's not me being some big head. That's an energy which the majority of us will have some sort of strain of our soul coming from an energy that is that size, coming from a huge energy which might have an overarching archangel feeling to it, might have one of the overarching god or goddess feelings to it. It's that type of an energy. That is, I am one strain, one tiny aspect, and I mean tiny aspect of that energy. And he said, look how big your energy, look how many of even yourself there is. Look at how many other beings on this planet and in the universe as souls are part of your energy. Why do you deal with everything by yourself? Why do you put everything on your shoulders still? Look how big you are. Okay, yeah, I need to be reaching out and spreading out what I need to, among others. Reaching into the depths of my soul, reaching out to the depths of my soul, and asking for help when I feel low, when I feel tired, all of those things, which I have been feeling at the moment. And so I said to him, so who are you? Who are you? Like you do, because he's this random god who's just turned up to have a little old chit chat with me. And he said, well, there you go. He said, I am the god. So your brother, I am the god of love. And I went, really? I don't think that there's a Polynesian or a Samoan god of love. And he said, no, I'm here. Lynn spoke to you about equivalence. And if you're associated, which I do have a sort of a Venus overarching feeling, that Mother Nature feeling, all of those types of energies of Aphrodite and a lot of the very abundant goddesses, Mother Earth type energies, I've come, that's an energy very much associated with me. And he said, if that's who you are, I've come in as your equivalent. And I said, okay, I'm not 100% sure who you are. All I could hear was, all the Moana songs. I thought, no, that's my mum playing tricks. So anyway, I ended up falling asleep, which was lovely. I had a really good sleep. So I came down here this morning after I've had my cup of tea, and I was looking at, there's a really wonderful blog, which I'll just show you the title just to give the guys some credit. See there? Do it one more time. It's Glitter Night 2013 0430, the top deities in Samoan mythology. Okay. So what this blog showed me is, and it did feel Samoan, it didn't feel Hawaiian, it didn't feel Polynesian, it really felt Samoan. And when I started to read through the different gods, there was one, and my pronunciation is going to be dreadful, but he is essentially the Samoan Hercules, the Samoan version of Maui. The Hawaiians call him Maui, but the Samoans call him Tiki Tiki, or which actually he got quite excited about and I felt like crying, which was tiki tiki, where you've got the using the back of your throat, the glottal pronunciation of the K, so using the back of your throat for the K. And I'm getting chills now just having said his name properly, because again he's quite happy about it. I haven't got any more, baby. But he basically was this amazing figure, and one of the things that he did among all of his amazing deeds, when you look through, was actually to help free Sina, who is one of the goddesses, the goddess of love, of abundance, of sex, of all of those types of things, who she was being pursued by a god she really didn't want pursuing her, which was the eel god. And he then turned that eel god into the coconut tree. Now, if you've seen Moana, you'll see that that's in one of the songs. There you go, baby. And so he's saying, you know, that's who I love. So I read about him, and I said, hey, but wait a second, you're supposed to marry these two goddesses, who are the goddesses of unrequited love. And he said, yes, exactly. They're the goddesses of unrequited love. Their love was unrequited. And I said, okay, fine. So then I went down to Sina herself. There isn't a great picture on here that I can show you of Tiki, apart from this quite cool looking photo that they've got of this guy by the sea. And what I'll do is I'll show you Sina herself. There. Okay, and that's with the eel god. Okay? So he was kind of aligning Sina's energy to Venus, to all of that, which was wonderful, really, really nice. So having a look through, I think Sina's energy does resonate with my own energy, coming in with Venus and that type of thing. And she was very promiscuous. Maybe that's a part of my darkness that I need to unleash. I don't know. But this meditation was totally about me connecting into the darker side, or what we would see as the darker side. So we would see promiscuity as darkness. We would see sex as darkness. And actually, when I know very well, and we all know very well, when it's done in the right way, as part of a loving relationship, or even if it's just for a moment and that it's given with respect and both parties partake in a really beautiful connection, understanding that it's two souls connecting, then, you know, it's not so much of an issue. And that's really the way that she works. She had lots of different husbands. She would marry mortals so that they would die, and then she could go off and marry someone else. Clever girl. But she, you know, so it was for me about embracing the dark side. So maybe at the moment the area that really I need to work on is you know, releasing the temptress in me, releasing the enchantress, releasing that real sexual side of me, which, as most people know, after having 2 kids and the kids are small and you're tired and all that sort of stuff, that stuff is really quite difficult to connect in with. So that's really what I'm taking from it. So I had visitation from a god, which is wonderful. I had a connection to my higher self through Sina, through another aspect of my higher self, which is really, really wonderful. Just through using the affirmation, I'm a perfect balance of dark and light, and just waiting to see what comes rather than having an intent for what came at all. So that's just pointing me in the direction of the area that I need to work on, which I'm aware that's an area I need to work on, which is wonderful. So I hope that this has given you a little bit of inspiration, either with the message or with the thought of connecting into your dark and light sides and accepting the whole of yourself, and that actually you can meditate just before you go to bed, and as long as you kind of keep a hold on it for about 20 minutes, then you'll get some amazing stuff out of it, and then you have a really, really good night's sleep and you'll feel a hell of a lot better. So there you go. Love as always. I'm signing off. Toodaloo.